Bob Dylan almost wrote a song about the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. The Medicare podcast that blushes with embarrassment. It's a dog-eat-dog world and he wears milk-bone underwear. It's Medicare expert Doug Jones.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. I bet you thought I forgot where I was. Well, we all have these mental lapses occasionally. Anyway, as you may have heard my Canadian nephew announce, I am Doug Jones, your Medicare specialist or your Medicare expert for today, and I'll be pontificating about Medicare. I don't have that many opinions, but I have a few strongly held opinions about what everyone should do about Medicare. And since I encounter people every day who have no idea what they should do about Medicare, I thought of a way to transmit my knowledge from my brain to those people's ears, and that would be actually to their eyeballs. I wrote a book, Medicare for the Lazy Man. And then the following year, I wrote another book, Medicare for the Lazy Man, and I think it was 2020. And then I wrote a book the following year, Medicare for the Lazy Man 2021, and we are now verging on, we're coming close to 2026. But right now, the greatest Medicare book available at the most reasonable price possible is on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com, and it's entitled Medicare for the Lazy Man 2025. So if you go to either of those locations and type into the search window Medicare for the Lazy Man 2025, you're going to find the most complete collection of Medicare knowledge and instruction that is available in the world of reading matter. And the way I ask you to enjoy that book is to start at the beginning, because at the very beginning you will find my professional recommendations as to what everyone should do about Medicare, all in the first few pages. It wraps up very quickly, and then the rest of the book is just an enjoyable, light read. It fleshes out some of the other elements, but the book starts out with a bang. Now, I have two other books available at Amazon.com. One is Medicare for the Lazy Man, Bare Bones. Well, I'm going to change the title to Enrollment Guide and maybe another explanatory phrase. But the point of that book is to lead you through the enrollment process so that you have no misunderstandings about what is required when it's time for you to enroll in Medicare. I give you the website to go to. I tell you what's likely to happen. I tell you what the confirmation of your success will look like. And then I tell you what your agent should do for you as part of the enrollment process. And I've got all this crammed into a 20-page, almost a pamphlet that will be so fully packed of information that it's going to be, I would say, the most powerful book in all of Medicare. And then finally, for those who are struggling with their drug plan choices, and especially if they're having trouble finding qualified expert assistance. And I can see why that would happen, because these drug plans have been squeezed by the federal government in such a way that they don't have any extra money. They've all stopped paying commissions, except for one plan from one company, I believe. Now, if you go to an unscrupulous advisor, everybody's going to wind up in that plan. Magically, that's going to be the best plan for everybody, because it has commissions payable to the agent. But for agents that are cognizant of the well-being of their clients or the people they're advising, there are 12 plans in an average location. Each of them has a different characteristic, and without following certain scientifically designed steps, and I do it on the government website, you're going to wind up in a plan that may not be advantageous for you, may not cover your drugs, may not cover them at the pharmacy that you wish to deal with. So I suggest you can buy my book, Medicare Drug Plans, a DIY guide. That's on sale at Amazon. Pretty darn cheap. It's $10 for the paperback, and I don't know, $3 or $4 for the Kindle version. And those are the three books that I have available for you. But I would also put in a plug for a really sophisticated computerized drug plan selection service. It's a subscription service. So it's going to cost you $30 for a year unless you come to me, and I will give you a coupon that essentially knocks $5 off of that. And this is a very impressive service called Hey Mo. Don't go to their website. Come to me and say, give me that discount to Hey Mo, and I'll send it right back to you. Also, if you want a free copy of the instruction manual for enrolling in Medicare, ask for that, and I'll send you a free photocopy of that book as well. We've got all kinds of free stuff available around here. All you have to do is ask. Speaking of free stuff that you have to ask for, Randy Carson's sitting here with a friend sitting on his lap. And when I found out that this friend was going to be sitting there for the whole podcast, I said to myself, well, I should probably get to know this friend. He may be taking over for Randy at some point. So who have we got sitting on your lap, Randy?
This is Darby.
Oh, really? Wow. Darby is Italian? That sounds like an Italian name.
No, Darby's Irish. He's a miniature poodle. He's a redhead, and so his name's Darby. And he's what I call my desktop dog. He knows everything about computer desktop that you might ever want to know.
So if you have a grabber, can Darby just step right in and take over
Yeah,
your duties
that's
here?
that's the idea. Yeah.
Boy, I'm glad to hear that because I was worried last night. The thought occurred to me that what if I'm uh, like I have a really nice email address that I'm trying to switch all my stuff to, and it's not been easy. And I thought, what if you croak? I don't have a real domain here. I'm going to have to go back to the world of Gmail or something, and I don't know what would happen to my brand new email address that I love so much.
Oh, I will make sure that doesn't happen,
Oh,
Doug.
okay. All right.
I'll
Give
I'll
it.
tr
Well, it's
I'll
nice to know
train
Darby can step right in and
I'll train Darby up, and you'll be good to go.
very, very good. I'm glad to hear that. My mind is set at ease.
Well, guess what I've got all waiting in the wings for you.
I'm guessing it's a bunch of Guinness.
Well, you wish.
Yeah, I do. I do. Because I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, my second guess might be that you're going to push the. I just got a text from somebody. Now, they might be living in a time warp, or it might be that we're just ahead of time when we record an episode. It doesn't get published as quickly as it should be. So this person just texted me a message saying the name of the steakhouse is Durant's, you idiots.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. I'm glad I know that now because I was losing sleep over it.
Well, this guy did me a big solid there. I appreciate it, but he doesn't realize that there's a time warp involved between the recording and the actual publishing of the episode. So I'm guessing that you have something that I always find painful and slightly embarrassing. Would that be correct?
It's called Stump the
Oh,
Insurance
ouch.
Expert.
Yeah, getting stumped is just not as much fun as one might think.
So, and I think this is going to be right down your alley in terms of, things or maybe not, but we're talking about on today's date and what happened on December the 16th, 1773.
I'm going to say the Boston Massacre.
Keep thinking Boston something, but not Boston Massacre.
The well, I know it's too early for the Freedom Trail to have been established. Um,
What do you drink during the mornings?
I drink tea. Oh, the Boston Tea Party.
That's right.
Well, God bless America. I asked a friend of mine for a reading recommendation, and he said, if you're going to read Bill O'Reilly's book, start with Killing England. And so I have, and I'm just past the Boston Tea Party. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of interesting stuff in Bill O'Reilly's book about the American Revolution that I didn't know. But the Boston Tea Party had ramifications. When you watch the Walt Disney version when we were kids,
Yeah.
and these guys that look like Indians and they walk on the ships and they take over and they dump all the tea into the harbor and everything, everybody goes away, some people happier than others. Bill O'Reilly delves into the ramifications, the political implications of and the resulting crackdown on the city of Boston that occurred that changed 1 million people's lives. Well, not 1 million, but a lot. And
Yep.
I
Yep.
was not aware of all that. So it's interesting that you would glom onto that particular event, and it would be coincidental that with my reading material right now.
Well, there's one more item that kind of brought this to mind, and it was truly a coincidence that today is the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. But Stalker Susie, she's interested in Boston, so I
Yeah.
was really interested that by pure coincidence that today was the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. But to get bonus points, I've got one more question for you.
Alrighty.
It's related to the Boston Tea Party.
Okay.
It happened in September 30th of 1961.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what it's all about. Mayor Snyder, I don't know who Mayor Snyder is, of
Sounds like
Oregon.
sounds like an Italian.
He reimbursed Great Britain for the cost of all the tea we wasted. So your question today, Doug, is
Yeah.
what was the cost of the tea that we wasted?
Do I have to do it in pounds or may it be expressed in?
You can go in dollars.
Okay, let's go with American dollars, US dollars. Um, I will tell you that Mayor Snyder is a glory hound because the city of Boston was punished to the extent of repayment of the cost of the tea right after the Boston Tea Party. They
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
down the harbor and penalized every money making business that they could until that debt was paid. And so Mayor Snyder is just piling on. He's just trying to grab a little PR for himself. But I'm going to say that the value of the tea in today's dollars, or maybe
Well, say
1961.
say $1961.
Yes. Let me adjust the calculator that lies within my brain. Ching, 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 ching. $1961 versus the $1773. And I'm going to come up with $8,000. Oh boy. I'm guessing it's fewer dollars than that because we've had a lot of Democrats, pumping a
Many,
lot of inflation.
many fewer dollars.
Let's go with $2,000. Wow. Jeez. Let's go with $500.
Nope. Lower
12
yet.
$12. Holy crap. They made
No, it's
such
a
a
little
big.
little higher than that. They made a big deal out of $196 worth of tea.
Oh my God. And what has happened? $196 of tea today would be worth how much, I wonder.
More.
Yeah, a lot more. A lot more. Wow. Well, that's very interesting. I love historical stuff. We could do this for the whole episode.
I
And
know we could.
I have a feeling sometimes we have. Those might be our lower rated episodes, but I want to
Well,
get on.
I'm going to go ahead and let you take off with the Medicare information. I'm going to go ahead and mute out, and whenever this thing gets published, I just wanted to let Stalker Susie know this is all because of her.
Well, I wanted to thank her, you, the dog Snyder. No, the dog is Darby,
Darby, yeah, yeah,
and Bill O'Reilly, all of you for,
yeah,
and probably Martin
absolutely,
Dugard for entertaining me, if not the rest of the listening audience.
absolutely.
All righty. Here we go with our typical segments that we perform at the beginning, at the top of every episode. The first one is always Medicare Advantage Minute. It's a minute where I allow myself to try my best to steer people away from Medicare because Medicare plans are not a good idea. And even though most people will sail through life without a problem and won't have the serious, horrible stories that I've collected, there are enough people who will have physical problems and will fall victim to their Medicare plan shortcomings. And I just don't want to see that happen. Medicare supplement is the way to go. There may be a lot of people who don't have problems with their Medicare Advantage plans, but when their Medicare Advantage plan turns on them like a rabid dog, then they become sorry that they have those limitations. They wish they could change to a Medicare supplement, but in most places that is not possible if you have medical problems. So anyway, here is an article that I ran across, And I actually ran across this in our friends, the Hey Mo people's website, Diane Omdahl's newsletter, which I believe is now being taken over by her daughter. In any event, the title of the article is The 9 Biggest Disadvantages to Medicare Advantage. Once you reach age 65, you become eligible for Medicare, the federal government's health insurance program primarily geared towards seniors and retirees. Whether you retire early or plan to work for several more years, you've already turned 65, or whether you have a few birthdays to go, it's worth thinking about which Medicare plan you'll sign up for when the time comes. If finding a provider you love is important to you, Original Medicare will give you more options. With Medicare Advantage, you'll have to settle for the best care you can find within the network. So here are the 9 disadvantages to Medicare Advantage. Number 1, it has a much smaller healthcare provider network. Most, although not all, American healthcare providers accept Original Medicare insurance. The same cannot be said for Medicare Advantage, which has a much smaller provider network. If you're trying to maintain your current doctor, then it could lower your financial stress if you make sure they are still in the network before going for a visit. By way of comparison, only 5% of non-rural retirees switch away from Medicare Advantage. That seems like it jumped over a thought there. Well, I had trouble copying this article, and I may have missed a paragraph or a thought in there. Number 2, its service area is much smaller. Since Medicare is administered by the federal government, you can use it at any hospital or medical provider in the United States, as long as that provider accepts Medicare, which the vast majority do. Something like 93% of all doctors accept Medicare as payment. In contrast, Medicare Advantage's smaller provider network is extremely localized. Whenever you're seeking non-emergency care, you're limited to providers in your immediate area, generally speaking. Its provider network, this is number 3, its provider network is especially small for rural communities. No matter where in the country you live, Medicare Advantage's network is smaller than Original Medicare's network, no matter where. But the network is especially limited for rural communities. According to one study published in 2021, 10.5% of rural retirees who sign up for Medicare Advantage end up switching to Original Medicare. Okay, so that's where I jumped the tracks. So one study says that 10.5% of rural retirees who sign up for Medicare Advantage end up switching to Original Medicare, assuming they're healthy enough to do that, to get a Medicare supplement. By way of comparison, only 5% of non-rural retirees switch away from Medicare Advantage. So that tells you that the problems are a little larger in rural areas. It usually requires referrals to see specialists. This is number 4, disadvantage of Medicare Advantage plans. Requires referrals to see specialists. With Original Medicare, you can schedule a specialist even without a referral. With Medicare Advantage, though, you cannot simply call a specialist and schedule an appointment. Instead, you may need a referral from a primary care provider before you can speak to a specialist. I think that's more common in the HMO plans than it is in the PPO plans, but it is still an additional cost, even if you have a Medicare Advantage PPO plan that doesn't force you to get a referral. Pro tip, it says. This has a pro tip, number 4. You may need to make some extra money if you have a health connection that requires frequent trips to a specialist. I don't know what the heck that means. Number 5, it requires, this is Medicare Advantage, requires pre-authorization for most high-cost services. Medicare Advantage plans often require pre-approval for services such as inpatient hospital stays, dialysis, physical therapy, and psychiatric care. If you don't get prior authorization when required, you may be responsible for the whole cost. Original Medicare, by contrast, generally does not require pre-authorization for these services. It is starting a pilot program, and there's, 8 or 10 kind of oddball procedures that Original Medicare is going to experiment with in 6 different states around the U.S. But generally speaking, you're not going to run into a pre-authorization problem with Medicare. But if you have severe medical problems, you could very easily run into a pre-authorization problem with a Medicare Advantage plan. And that boils down to the accountants, the bean counters, making decisions rather than you and your doctor making decisions together. So that becomes a serious problem in many situations. Number 6 reason why Medicare Advantage plans, or the number 6 disadvantage of Medicare Advantage plans, a Medicare Advantage plan often requires pre-authorization for Part B medications. Medicare Part B is the medical insurance section of Medicare, and it's included in all Medicare Advantage plans. However, you'll need prior approval before your Medicare Advantage plan will help to pay for any outpatient drugs prescribed under Part B as in Bravo, rather than Part D as in Delta, which covers most other prescriptions. Most Part B as in Bravo drugs that require pre-authorizations are injectables, including injectable medications for osteoporosis, injectable blood clotting factors for hemophilia, and some oral and injectable end-stage renal disease medications. Number 7, a Medicare Advantage plan can require step therapy for Part B as in Bravo drugs. Step therapy refers to the practice of using a cheaper medication to treat a condition before moving to a more expensive medication. So it's like they're experimenting with your body. They're going to be trying to find out what the cheapest possible drug is that will help your condition and stick you in that slot instead of allowing you to use the most expensive and possibly the best available drug. So back to the article, unlike original Medicare, Medicare Advantage plans can require step therapy for Part B medications, meaning your Medicare Advantage plan can refuse to cover medications prescribed by your doctor if there's a cheaper alternative. Number 8, this means your Medicare Advantage plan might make hospital stays more expensive. Medicare Advantage might be cheaper for some retirees, especially those who mainly see healthcare providers for preventive health. But if you end up in the hospital for a week, studies show that 50% of seniors using Medicare Advantage will pay more for that stay than seniors using original Medicare. In other words, if you have poor health and know that you're at higher risk of hospitalization, Medicare Advantage might cost you more over time than original Medicare. And finally, the 9th element of a Medicare Advantage plan that is disadvantageous, it can make budgeting for healthcare even harder. Budgeting for healthcare can be tricky, especially on a fixed income. Original Medicare charges a predictable monthly premium. Though you may still pay deductibles and coinsurance, Medicare Advantage plans often have lower or even $0 premiums. But you pay copays and coinsurance for services until reaching the plan's out-of-pocket maximum, which can make monthly costs harder to predict. The bottom line of this article is that Medicare Advantage plans can offer crucial benefits that make life easier for some retirees, especially those in good health with relatively few healthcare needs. But it's definitely not the right choice for everyone. You should weigh the pros and cons of your situation before making a final decision. If you anticipate hospital stays, prefer to pick your own provider, and dislike the idea of having to get prior approval for most expenses, and I hate all that stuff, original Medicare might be a better choice for you to prevent the need to make extra money for insurance. I don't know. That's the second time they mentioned that. So that is the 9 reasons that Medicare Advantage plans are disadvantageous. And frankly, I think it's pretty well put. All right, the other segment we do at the top of every show is we pay a little visit to the big giant book of Your Medicare Benefits 2025. And there are a lot of things in this book. We've been plowing through this book for months now, and we are up to the V as in Victor letter because everything's alphabetized. Today, we're going to talk about how Medicare might cover virtual check-ins. I've never heard of this before, and I certainly would not know that Medicare covers virtual check-ins. Well, we're not talking about hotel room check-ins. We're talking about check-ins with your doctor. Part B of Medicare covers virtual check-ins with your doctor or certain other healthcare providers. God, I hate when they say that. Just your doctor, period. I'm going to have to start editing these articles. These brief communication services allow you to talk to your healthcare providers using real-time audio or real-time audio-video communication technology like your phone. My phone is now a real-time audio and maybe video communication technology. Okay, you could have just said phone, like your phone or computer, without going to the doctor's office. During a virtual check-in, your provider will decide if you need an office visit or another service. Here are the things they can do. They can conduct remote assessments using photo or video images that you send in order to decide if you need to go to the doctor's office. Randy's having trouble. I think he might have been drinking something and swallowed down the wrong pipe. He was laughing and choking at the same time. And the other thing that they can do is respond to you using uh, a one of these devices, a photo or video. Oh God, I lost it now. Or they can respond to you using a telephone, virtual delivery, secure messaging, email, or a patient portal. Medicare Advantage plans may offer more virtual check-in services than original Medicare. Check with your plan to find out what they offer. That's many decades ago. A guy named Alexander Graham Bell figured out a way that you could talk to your doctor without going through a whole lot of technical garbage. And I think that way still might work. I don't know. Although I will tell you that a big giant Chicago hospital swallowed up our local hospital, named for the benefactor that built the house my parents owned for a long time. And that hospital now, when you call, has a central receptionist who pretends to be your doctor's in your doctor's office, but in reality, when you'd say, "Let me talk to my doctor," they say no. And you have to leave a message and get a call back from somebody in the doctor's staff. So maybe this virtual check-in thing has more value to it than I was giving it credit for. So what are the costs for virtual check-ins? After you meet the Part B as in Bravo deductible, you pay 20% of the Medicare approved amount for your provider's services unless you are smart enough to go to Doug Jones to get a Medicare supplement plan, in which case that 20% is either going to be paid by somebody else or it's going to be credited to your account while you enjoy the wonderful benefits of the tiny, tiny premium that Medicare supplement can offer you. Talk to Mr. Jones for further details. Boy, that's a long paragraph here. Things to know. Virtual check-ins are different from an e-visit because they're usually 10 minutes or less and they happen in real time. An e-visit is a non-face-to-face communication that usually happens through an online patient portal. You can have a virtual check-in if you meet the following conditions. Number one, you talk to your provider about starting these types of services. Number two, you verbally consent to the virtual check-in and your provider documents your consent in your medical record. Your provider may get one consent for a year's worth of these services, and then he may decide never to do that again, depending on how pesky you are. Try to not make it an unpleasant experience for your doctor, if you would. All right, so if you want more information, go to this email ad or this URL, medicare.gov/coverage/virtual-check-ins. INS, plural. So that is our your Medicare benefits entry for today. And the rest of it is all gravy. Well, I'll tell you, gravy, my ass. It's almost 30 minutes on the head, meaning that we burned up so much fun time at the beginning of the episode. I think we pretty much blown it for today. So I'm going to turn things over to Randy, see if he can stretch things out a little bit more.
I'm going to go ahead and sign us off because Lord knows I don't have any more quarters. I never do.
Well, you know something? Stalker Susie has asked me several times to spend more time discussing important world events and things like that, or stream of consciousness things. So I'm thinking if we're going to get more quarters, and God knows after all these years, we know they're not coming from me and they're not coming from you. Neither of us is digging down into our pockets for quarters. Let's see if we can't maybe pass the hat and get the audience to contribute. And we'll start with Stalker Susie and see what we come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just one thing I'd like to point out. I haven't done this for quite a while, but one of my duties is to come up with acronyms that will stick in your head, that will keep you on the right path away from Medicare Advantage plans.
Yes,
And
sir.
that
That's true.
one of them is it's a code that they use inside the Medicare Advantage office, and it's called DUD. DUD. And what do you suppose that means in the world of Medicare Advantage?
I bet it has two of the words I bet are dead and deny. Would that be correct?
One of the words is dead. Well,
Uh,
yeah, kind of. Okay, DUD in the context of the Medicare Advantage Processing Office means delay until dead.
yes, there you go. I remembered
Okay,
that.
that's how they keep their expenses down. And there's one more, DBA. Most people think that means doing business as, but not in the Medicare Advantage world. It means died before approval.
And that's so true. That is so true because these people are trying to ration care. These Medicare
Yeah,
Advantage plans use it to ration care, just like the Canadian provinces use their stupid, their socialized medicine for the same purpose. But
yeah,
you're gonna love the Medicare Advantage article for the next episode, uh,
cool.
because when your acronyms come to life on somebody else's page, it's a very rewarding thing.
Cool. Well, since I'm not going to get any more quarters on this time around, I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I don't want the operator to cut in and start complaining to put more quarters in the phone. And by the way, just for those of you who on the podcast that weren't listening very closely, phones are a real-time communications device. Oh my God. So anyway, here we go. Write this email address down. It's very important. You can reach out to Doug any time of the day or night to ask a question, make a comment. DBJ at mlmmailbag.com. That's DBJ at mlmmailbag.com. Doug is licensed in every state of the union to help you with your Medicare supplement planning. And we are located on the web at MedicareForTheLazyMan.com. Got some pretty cool stuff going there if you do ask me, because I'll tell you, I think it's really cool. Ultimately, the next point is in your wanderings through the wilds that are called the internet, leave us some reviews. We're still trying to stay ahead of the travel logs until the end of the year. We're well positioned to do that, but we just don't want to lose sight of the goal. Last but certainly not least, thank you. Thank you, every one of you, for joining us today. You could have been anywhere else, and you weren't. You were with us listening to Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast for about 32 and a half minutes. You were listening to Doug Jones, the anti-insurance guy, originally from Oklahoma. No more. He's located in the high ground behind Cave Creek, Arizona, in the area that we affectionately call the Nosebleed Mountains, the home range of the Nosebleed Indians. And Doug, as I've said for the last couple weeks, is still working on his pilot's license. So I'm going to keep him down below 10,000 feet because he has no oxygen in his SPAD. If you know what a SPAD is, it's a biplane.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So
I
anyway, here we go. I'm going to leave it over to Doug now so he can sign off.
I don't know what my altitude is. Anything below 10,000, I'm going to take as a win. I forgot to do our Christmas quiz. So let's quickly address some of the questions on our Christmas quiz. How many Christmas trees are sold every year in the United States, Randy?
More than one.
That's correct. That is a correct answer. Next question. According The answer they give here is 25 to 30 million. That's I wish they'd narrow it down a little bit, but according to the commentary on this, that's a lot of trees, as if we didn't know that. According to German folklore, what horned figure punishes naughty children around holidays?
Uh, Elementary teachers.
Well, close. I think This would be a non-union version of that, and the character is Krampus, Krampus.
Oh, you mean Miss Krampus from kindergarten?
Yeah, but she belonged to a union, so she wouldn't
Oh,
count.
okay. All right.
The
Okay.
horned mythological antithesis to Santa Claus has been around since the 12th century. Well, not in my house. Next question. What musical odd couple recorded this song?
Driveway north.
Oh, you got visitors.
The Medicare Advantage people are trying to get in.
Well, you've kept them away. You've kept them at arm's length successfully for a long time. What musical odd couple recorded the song "Peace on Earth" and "Little Drummer Boy" in 1977? Here's a hint. They're both dead now.
I'm
All
not
right.
sure.
This is not one of the more exciting Christmas questions. Bing Crosby and David Bowie.
David Bowie?
Yeah,
How did he ever get into the Christmas music business?
Hard to believe. But, he was kind of a prostitute. So anybody with flashing cash, I think, got Bowie into their recording studio. What seasonal song contains the following lyrics? Here's the lyric. The moon is right, the spirit's up. We're here tonight, and that's enough.
I don't know.
Boy. Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time. That's the title of the song by Sir Paul McCartney. Never heard of it.
Okay. Yeah,
But
me
I'll
and Paul, I think we worked on that together, didn't we?
Well, you apparently created a seasonal song that contains that lyric, so kudos to you. What country celebrates Christmas by eating KFC chicken?
Well, it would probably have to be it would be the United States because nobody else has got KFC chicken, but
Not true, sir. The country in question, and this may explain a few World War losses, Japan. Over 3.5 million Japanese families participate in the Yuletide tradition every year. Now, if I had said spam, what state in the Union?
spam. Oh, spam. Spam. I know
spam.
what that. Yeah, Hawaii. Hawaii loves spam. Hawaii
That would've
lives
been
off
right.
spam. They run off spam.
That would have been right, but it doesn't appear in this list of questions. So moving right along to our final question. What 1964 sci-fi film featuring Santa is widely regarded as one of the worst movies ever made?
Bad Santa.
That's one of the best movies ever made. I love Bad Santa. This movie is one that I first saw on Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I love it. I can never get tired of watching their version of it. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Now,
Wow, that's a good one. I like that one.
It is. It's fun to watch, but it's better to watch it with the Mystery Science Theater crowd. Fun bonus fact: the Mystery Science Theater 3000 cast ripped the movie in a 1991 episode. Boy, that was a long time ago. Alrighty, that's it for our Christmas quiz for today.
Christmas quiz. Well, awesome. I don't think I did all that well, but if you would have had something about spam, I would have been right in there with the points.
I will just leave you with this thought. Turnabout is fair play.
I knew that was coming.
And
Well,
with that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think we need to sign off now, Doug.
Yes, I'm going to let them go now because otherwise they'll never come back. So we will look forward to seeing you in our next episode, and that'll be in a very short period of time. I can't wait for it to arrive. Join us, won't you? Bye-bye.